TMZ getting another email today from someone who claims to know the kidnapper, demanding even more money to rat out the suspect. This ransom note writer says that they want $100,000 from the FBI reward, again in Bitcoin, but he promises to only take half of the money until the kidnapper is arrested.
Now, there's something really important here, that he says that when he gets the initial payment, and this is a quote, he will give up, quote, the name of the main individual. The main individual. That means if this is legit, he has accomplices. So he does refer to the current state of Nancy Guthrie. We are not going to get into what that is.
Here with analysis live from Tucson is Morgan Wright, cybersecurity expert and CEO and founder of the National Center for Open and Unsolved Cases. So a lot of interesting stuff there. One is, what do you make of this latest letter?
Charlie, so let me ask you a question. When's the last time you saw a streaker at a football game, at an NFL game, broadcast live?
The Super Bowl.
You don't. The reason why, every time you did that, it enables bad behavior. It encourages people to do it because they get their airtime. This is simply that. I don't want to discount this, but I'm saying it hasn't risen to the level yet that I have any faith that this is anything other than somebody living vicariously through the tragic events that are going on here right now. So whoever's doing it is doing it because every time they send it to TMZ, it gets on the air. And if we do it, Charlie, it's going to happen a fourth time. And if we do it a fourth time, it's going to happen a fifth time. So we got to stop airing these, quote, ransom communications and keep the public focused on what's important.
Yeah, so is it your gut or is it your feeling that that's true about all of these letters that TMZ has been reporting?
Yeah, you know, Charlie, many years ago I taught interviewing, interrogation, behavior analysis interviewing. I mean, I taught at the NSA to the FBI. And Charlie, words mean things. And so when we look at, and the structure of everything, right? So when we look at it, nothing in that first communication has risen to the level of where it's evidentiary enough to where you can say, I now have incontrovertible proof of proof of life. I now have incontrovertible evidence. We haven't achieved that. What we had was a remark about a white Apple Watch, which could have been found from social media, and a broken floodlight. Those are inconsistent with saying she was wearing an earring or she had this kind of a necklace, or here's a picture of the necklace that I got from her. So absent that, again, we're way down here. I call it a communication. It's not a ransom note. And so at this point, I think what happened was, you know, it could have been a target of or it could have been a crime that went bad. In other words, a burglary that involved a confrontation with Nancy. And then technically it is a kidnapping, Charlie. Anytime you remove somebody by force, it's a kidnapping. But it does not appear to be a targeted kidnapping for ransom.
It completely changes the nature of it if it was sort of an incidental to an original crime. Do you have much faith that the police and the FBI are treating these notes as carefully as they should?
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt. Look, the FBI is one of the best in the world from a linguistic standpoint, analyzing things. The toughest part right now, Charlie, is the way these communications came in. You could trace them back to the last hop from the anonymized server to, you know, who received it, like TMZ. Getting back to its original source, it's very tough. And what makes it really tough is if that anonymous, say, service is in a country where we don't have what's called an MLAT, a Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty. It's very difficult to get. We don't have MLATs with China. We don't have MLATs with North Korea or Iran. They would never cooperate on an investigation with us. So we need an MLAT and we need an extradition treaty. And most probably the service is in a place to where it would not accept process, U.S. Process from a legal standpoint or a search warrant. So I don't have any faith right now that. I mean, what I should say is I have all the faith that they're going to trace it back as far as they can. I think they're going to get stymied by legal issues like these MLATs.
Yeah, and obviously they're spending an awful lot of time talking to the media about these and talking about and seemingly to take them seriously. Is that detracting them from focusing on the things that they should? What more should they be focusing on?
You know, Charlie, we reached a point on my Substack. It's called Crime Reconstructed. I actually wrote an article about this. It just actually came out a couple days ago, but it's called Information Entropy. And we've received a point in an entropic system. I mean, you get so much data that's coming in. The mind can't hold that many ideas, right? And so investigators can't process all these multiple inputs. We've got to reduce the amount of complexity in the system so that they can do a better job of connecting the dots. Hey, look, it's tough. When you get 18,000 leads in, when I worked homicide cases, if we got 200 leads in, it was like, oh my gosh, you know, what are we going to do? But with 18,000, it's just, I don't think people realize how complex it is to deal with 100 leads, then 1,000 leads, then 10,000 leads, how that increases exponentially the difficulty of assessing these things, prioritizing, because what will happen, there'll be a lead in there somewhere, that's the one, and they say, well, why didn't you find it? I don't know, it was one of 18,000. We're working our way through them.
And I would imagine that the FBI probably is better equipped to do this than a local sheriff's department. But I would think that you would have to have a team that was set up to filter through as much nonsense as there is on social media and on the internet. You still have to filter through all that, as you say, to find that one little needle in the haystack that might actually be valuable.
Yeah, I don't know that the FBI is doing it. I mean, this is something I've talked about in our work with the National Center, but it's the ability to apply AI to say, look, we know how credible tips come in. It's not about are they written correctly, this, but they have the veneer of truth around them, as they say. And so in the future, I think what's going to happen is you're going to analyze these 18,000. It's the same thing the U.S. Marshals do when they get all the tips on fugitives. How do you analyze these? I still have to deal with all of them, but give me the top 10% so I can focus on the things that could produce the highest value in terms of our investigative efforts. You'll get to the other ones later, but I think AI becomes a bigger issue in terms of making law enforcement more effective and deal with big amounts of data like this.
So not to get you too far out into speculation land, if you were to speculate if this is one person or a group of people, and what level of sophistication, what would you say?
So I go back to, there's three things involved in this case. It's time constraints. We have to be people have to be within defined movements and time constraints, technology, all the digital stuff, and then behaviors. At least this person, the solo operator we saw at the beginning, the solo perpetrator, was very comfortable standing where they were. And there was enough time there. If there was a second person, it could have been somewhere else. The only thing, Charlie, and not speculation, I'm saying there's a lot of ifs here, right? So it's like a hypothesis, a lot of ifs. But if that glove is tied back through biologic, through DNA, through touch DNA, anything back to Nancy or back to the home, then what you start seeing is how did they leave? So they left, and where it is, I actually drove that route this morning, got a really good view, searched that whole area. And so when you drive down, that glove appears that it would have come out on the passenger side. So in a kidnapping, if you want to take somebody and control somebody, you drive, somebody's driving, somebody's with control, and normally in that control, if that did come out, it would be on the passenger side. And then what we'd really want to know, Charlie, is was the glove, you think about it when you've worked on stuff and you take the gloves off, you pull it and it turns inside out. Was the glove inside out, or was it, like somebody dropped it?
Fascinating. Morgan Wright, thank you so much for your help tonight.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.